who were the Hebrew Israelites before Israel? Before the brother Israel, Jacob. Who were they? And the Hebrew Israelites will say, well, Adam and Eve and da-da-da-da. But that's not factual. There was no Hebrew Israelites prior to Jacob. Can your Bible defend you? Can your Bible protect you? Can El Shaddai, your God, can he protect you? And he cannot, apparently, because you got to run to the person I look at as my spiritual master, my gods, my ancestry. You got to run and attack them instead of defending what you got. Your God should be able to hold up and defend himself. Do the Hebrew Israelites actually speak Hebrew? Because when you're standing in the presence of somebody who speaks Hebrew, then all of a sudden you ain't got nothing to say. You follow what I'm saying? If I was to take a chalk and write your name right here in Hebrew, you wouldn't be able to read it if I didn't tell you what it was. I write Tazarayach right here, then you wouldn't be able to handle it. You follow what I'm saying? Isaiah 19:25. When the Hebrews had disease in their land and the Egyptians took them in and cured them. The Genesis chapter 12 verse 10. Moses was raised by Egyptians. Exodus chapter 2 verse 10. The Hebrews were nomadic people, meaning they had no knowledge until they met the Egyptians. Acts chapter 7 verse 22. Moses moved and lived as an Egyptian. Numbers chapter 12 verse 1 through 12. God cursed Moses' sister for talking against his Egyptian wife. Genesis chapter 16 verse 3. Abraham's wife married him to an Egyptian. Then you can go even further. Matthew chapter 2 verse 13 through 14. God sends his only begotten son to Jesus, and further on and further on and further on. In the book of Hosea, it's chapter 12 verse 9. God himself is stating that he is from Egypt. So then when you start to read this stuff, you say, so what's the issue between the Hebrew Israelites and the Egyptians? Or are they intimidated by the fact that we are the educator and they are the student?
All right, family, you already see what it is. We have a new sheriff in town. He goes by the name of Prince York, and he is coming to take heads. This brother said he is not polite. Captain Tazarayach don't know what he's about to get into, but he's about to embark on a brother who has had it up to here. Prince York is coming to redeem the new Wapians. That's right, family, make no mistake about it. We don't want to hear you talking shit about Dr. York. It's not about Dr. York. Answer the goddamn questions that brother Prince York is coming with. We don't want to hear no goddamn cop-outs. We don't want to hear you talking about Dr. York this and Dr. York that. You standing before Prince York, goddammit, you're gonna have to deal with him. If you want to talk about Dr. York, we can arrange that as well. But on this one right here, you're gonna have to answer some goddamn questions. Can you do that? Well, be careful what you ask for. We always say that because you just might get it. Without any further ado, I bring to you Prince York. 360 questions to ask a Hebrew Israelite. Now let me ask you, brother. Since 84, have any of the Hebrews answered 360 questions?
None of the Hebrews have ever answered any of these questions.
And why do you think that is?
Because they're impossible to answer. Because we answer them while we're asking them. For example, I'll give you an example.
Yes, give me an example.
They was built for to. This is a debate. This is one of our debate series books, and it was built for that. It was built to debate them. So, for example, I'm looking for a question. See, I'm turning pages because it's literally an answer would be like 4 pages. So I'm looking for a next question. Okay, here's a question, and it says, "Ask the Hebrew Israelite, is your religion or religious beliefs founded on the Torah's 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy?" Answer, they will say yes. However, what it is that the Hebrew Israelites are not aware of is Moses did not receive what is known as the Torah, the 5 books of Moses. How is this, you ask? Then he goes into the Bereshith. which is Genesis, and he starts to break it all down, page to page to page, and using biblical references. He's not going to go outside and what they call pseudo. He goes straight into the biblical reference and then starts explaining how, because it's books like, you have a lot of Sumerian scrolls, a lot of Sumerian tablets. You have to remember that when you're going into Moses and you're going into Abraham and you're going into all these original prophets of the Bible and the Torah, most of them wasn't, like for example, I'm trying to format it better. Okay, a good question is, who were the Hebrew Israelites before Israel? Before the brother Israel, Jacob? Who were they? And the Hebrew Israelites would say, well, Adam and Eve and da-da-da-da, but that's not factual. There was no Hebrew Israelites prior to Jacob. Reason being there was no Israelites prior to Jacob is because one Hebrew is the title, which means to cross over. When Abraham crossed over the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, and that's how he got the Hebrew term, the Hebrew word, that's what that means. It means to cross over. And then Israelite is children of Israel. So Adam could not be a child of Israel, because Adam would be the great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of Israel. So prior to Israel, you couldn't say that you're the original people, because then prior to Abraham, there was no such thing as Hebrew, and prior to Jacob, there was no such thing as Israelites. So who were the Israelites prior to that? And now you got to go to Abraham's origin. Abraham's origin is going to take you back to Chaldea, which is Sumeria. This is why we as Nuwapians, we went into the Sumerian doctrine. We dissected it. We went and started explaining who Enoch was and Tammuz and the different people of Sumer in ancient times. Because a lot of people get confused with the different words. They got Chaldea, they got Sumeria, and they got what's it called? They got I forgot. It starts with a B. Babylonia. Well, they're all the same. They're all the same place. Go ahead.
Let me say this real quick. And talking about Hebrew Israelites, you know they're going to come out full force.
Yeah.
Especially you being Prince York. Why do you think, my brother, that if you was to come out and speak solely on the doctrine to give the correct information, why do you think they always got to start attacking Dr. York personally instead of dealing with the information that he said? Why they want to attack him personally?
They don't want to.
Like, for example, you are the one standing here, not Dr. York. You are the one standing here, Brother Prince York. This is your statement. This is what you're saying. But instead of addressing what you said, they attack Dr. York. Why do you think they do that?
They attack Dr. York because it's a cop-out. A lot of different teachers are running cop-outs these days. You hit them with a question, and they answer your question with a question, then answer the question that they just asked themselves. And that's a good way to run. So I'm over here pointing out the facts on Dr. York's book, and you want to go to the allegedly and the conspiracies of his case when that's irrelevant to the topic. Because whether Dr. York said it or not, the facts stand. Can your Bible defend you? Can your Bible protect you? Can El Shaddai, your God, can he protect you? And he cannot, apparently, because you got to run to the person I look at as my spiritual master, my gods, my ancestry. You got to run and attack them instead of defending what you got. Your God should be able to hold up and defend himself. But then when you start doing your research, then you start to find out that your God is the God of the Egyptians. And you're the one that has the mistranslations. So then when we go into that, then you start touching into Hosea chapter 12, verse 9, where it says God says that he's from Egypt. Or you start going into...
That shit is powerful in itself.
Yeah.
Brother. God said he was from Egypt?
God said he was from Egypt.
How come we don't hear these chapters being called out, bro?
Because when Hebrew Israelites are reading, they like to jump around what they want you to hear what they want you to hear. So they can get you to do what they want you to do. These different religious sects, they're built on a fear tactic of either the world's going to end or this is going to happen or that's going to happen. So as long as they can keep telling you that a bunch of angels on chariots are going to break through the sky and come on down and put fear into everybody, then they can keep you intact. But if I read it as the fact in which it is, and I start studying the Bible as a textbook and not as a religious book, then I'll be able to see what you're saying isn't factual. These Armageddon already took place. You start studying different things like that. You start finding start reading the book of Malachi. That's what we were taught to do when we was in the school of Hebrew under Dr. Malachi York. We studied the book of Malachi, and the book of Malachi gave you a breakdown in 4 different chapters or 4 different quadrants, which we now understand as different cycles that is expanded in eras of 6,000 years. 6,000 plus 6,000 plus 6,000 plus 6,000 equals 24,000 year cycle of the equinox. So that's why the Caucasians have ruled over black people from 4004 BC all the way to the year 2000, or to be exact, September 9th, 1999, where they so-called claimed Y2K was going to begin to take place, which was the end of the world, which wasn't the end of the world. It was actually the end of his rule as the devil, or as the Caucasian race, ruling over black people. That's why we're in our state of godliness today. So they cover these things up. So some of the things in the Bible are not actually false, but they're mistranslated and misconstrued. And then you have to ask yourself, do the Hebrew Israelites actually speak Hebrew? Because when you're standing in the presence of somebody who speaks Hebrew, then all of a sudden you ain't got nothing to say. You follow what I'm saying? If I was to take a chalk and write your name right here in Hebrew, you wouldn't be able to read it if I didn't tell you what it was. I write Tazarayach right here, then you wouldn't be able to handle it. You follow what I'm saying?
Now go back to what you was getting ready to read when you said the God of Egypt. What is you talking about, man?
In the book of Hosea, it's chapter 12, verse 9. God himself is stating that he is from Egypt. But if I can go into numerous of verses. Isaiah 19:25, when the Hebrews had disease in their land and the Egyptians took them in and cured them. The Genesis chapter 12 verse 10, Moses was raised by Egyptian. Exodus chapter 2 verse 10, the Hebrews were nomadic people, meaning they had no knowledge until they met the Egyptians. Acts chapter 7 verse 22, Moses moved and lived as an Egyptian. Numbers chapter 12 verse 1 through 12, God cursed Moses' sister for talking against his Egyptian wife. Genesis chapter 16 verse 3, Abraham's wife married him to an Egyptian. Then you can go even further. Matthew chapter 2 verse 13 through 14, God sends his only begotten son to Jesus, and further on and further on and further on. So then when you start to read this stuff, then you say, so what's the issue between the Hebrew Israelites and the Egyptians? Or are they intimidated by the fact that we are the educator and they are the student? Are they intimidated that Dr. York presents a book like 360 Question and reminds you and takes you back to your genealogy or Genesis, which we know people who speak Hebrew as the Barashif? If we takes you back through that, then now all of a sudden now you have a problem with him, because he's stepping in your boundary. He's stepping on your toes. He's putting out books that are asking questions, books that you're forced to answer, books that if you don't answer, then the public will look at you a certain way. So let's all stump on Dr. York. Let's pounce on him and keep changing the subject and not addressing the questions. Because if we start to address the questions, now all of a sudden everybody's tongue is tied. Now all of a sudden we got to leave the Bible, the book, the most holy book on the planet according to you, the book written and hand script by God and sent down for us to be led by. We got to leave that book and go into the court documents of Dr. York, which has already been proven to be bogus. So now over here the white man's the devil, but in Dr. York's case, another black man who's trying to lead his people, now all of a sudden the white man's the angel. So now we got to move next to him, and we want to be so then therefore you are no different than the coons that you talking to in the street. You no different than these different suckers on the block. If you know what I'm saying? If you're attacking your own instead of answering the questions. Answer the questions of the book. Take that on. And that's why I'm going to make the announcement that Prince York has decided to take the debate with Captain Tazarayach. He has definitely done that. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Prince York, you said in the past that debates is this and debates is that. I did say that, and I still stand on that today. But one thing that Nuwapians must know, and all people must know, is that the master teacher says a Nuwapian man never turns the other cheek to be smacked twice. You smack me once, you talk all your crap, you slander, you do this and that, and then you expect no repercussions because we're the masters or we're the one disciplined. Sometimes the master has to come off his seat, whoop your ass, and put you back in your place. So that's exactly what we are going to execute at this debate. The date has not been given yet, but it will be coming soon. I guess Inetta could build with y'all on that, but I'm definitely going to take the debate with the Hebrew Israelite, because I've talked a lot. And a lot of people want to question me and my ability.
So you tried to bring unity, but they don't want it.
It's not that they don't want the unity. It's the fact that they don't know if they should be listening it for me.
So they disobedient.
They disobedient. So then what you have to do is you say, that when I say unity time, everybody come together, everybody says, well, yeah, we'll come together all right, but why should we come together under you? Or why should we come together with you? So then I have to show y'all why the Nuwapians are the masters. I have to show y'all why we walked 54 years doing this. I got to show y'all. So I have to execute it by making it embarrassing Captain Tazarayach. Because remember, I asked for the general, but he sent the captain. Captain Tazarayach is really just a kid. I'm asking for the general. The general didn't want to come from behind the walls. He sent the captain. So I got to slay the captain, and once I get through with him, then whoever else wanted. If young Pharaoh wants to come and debate about evolution, then I embarrass him. If the AMUN squad, I'll embarrass him. Whoever it is, so we can be able to get this done. So we're trying to execute a plan where we have to shut the people who's just misguiding you with misinformation, and then so we can get back on the right stage. Because a lot of people done forgot that the Nuwapians helped build a conscious community. A lot of people done forgot about that. So I have to be a reminder. Now I have to stand as my father stood in 1992 and shut everybody up. So if you don't be surprised, it's a matter of time before the slander starts on Prince York, where everybody's saying, oh, Prince York is an agent. Prince York is that's going to come in a minute. So mark my words that I said it, because it's coming. They're going to come. But the debate's going to be about 10 minutes. It's going to be about 10 minutes.
Brother, I want to let you know this. You know, calling out Captain Tazarayach name, the ISUPK is considered one of the best Hebrew Israelite camps out there.
Yeah.
I didn't say the best, I said one of the best. Then we have another camp, AOC, with my brother Hashar.
I have a question.
Then you got another camp called Lions of Israel with our brother Daniel Allah. So would you consider all three of them at one shot? You get the leader of AOC, the leader of Lions of Israel, and then you get Captain Tazarayach, meaning you versus three. You think it'd be better for them to even have a chance? I'm asking you.
With 3 Hebrew Israelite leaders, they still wouldn't have a chance. Reason being is because they can't answer the question. I'm gonna literally walk with you. Okay. I'm going to go verse for verse with you. We're going to say Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, where it says in the bara, not in the beginning. And if you translate bara in Hebrew, it means in the recreation. So what was the creation prior to that? I can stay just right here and just ask questions. I'm not going no further. We're not going to talk about it. It's not a game. We're going to sit here and we're going to go verse for verse. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. Genesis chapter 2 verse 2. How many children did Adam and Eve have? We're going to hit you with all these different questions. Why? Because I know the answers. But the question is, do you know the answers? Are you even qualified to be teaching as a Hebrew? But like I said, I want to be able to speak to if these I don't know who these brothers are, but if these are the brothers, I want to talk to their generals. I'm really not trying to talk to these little privates and caps since they moving like a military.
Well, Hashar is the general of his camp.
Okay.
And Daniel Allah is the man of his camp.
All right. So now, definitely, I'm with it.
But do you think they underestimate you because you being the son of Dr. York? They say, oh man, you just a little boy because you call yourself Prince. So you the boy. Do you think Tazarayach is really underestimating you, brother, and what you can bring to this circle?
I don't think Tazarayach is underestimating me. I think Tazarayach is underestimating the entire intellect of the Nuwapian nation. Tazarayach wasn't even a Hebrew Israelite in the time we were stumping on his ancestors. He wasn't even active yet. Most of these leaders weren't even there when we was doing it, so they don't even know. So that's why I have to come through as a reminder. So I have to come through and say, okay, they take it seriously. But how they take it seriously is they say, well, we ain't got nothing. Like somebody right now who's watching this is gonna say, well, we ain't got nothing to worry about because we got that 360 questions book and we got some answers. And they're gonna be in for a rude awakening when I pull out Hebrew Strongs. They're going to be in a rude awakening when they actually see, oh, he wasn't joking. They actually are fluent in the Nuwapian. Then they be in for a rude awakening. So I don't think that they don't see us as the equivalent. What it is that they think they know. They think they're prepared. The moment we say, don't mention Dr. York, just the books, then all of a sudden, then they become intimidated. Prior to that, then they say, well, we always got our last minute shot that we can throw at Dr. York and change the whole course of the conversation where the whole crowd is talking about this man's innocence and not about the information he put out. But if you will actually take the time to study the information he put out and actually take the time to say, okay, this shit makes too much sense, then it'll click in your head that this man couldn't have done this. The same brain that's doing this can't be doing this because this right here is fire empowerment. Why would it turn around and do this? And then you have to compare and contrast. Then you'll see why all the reasons why he would be put in jail illegally for 135 years starts to pop up all in his books because you're reading it and you're like, damn, this much information. Damn, he shut down this. Damn, he shut down that. After that, then it's like, what else is there to do? We got different sects. We got the Moors. We got the Hebrew Israelites. We got the 5%ers. I got a lot of love for 5%ers, but they wanted them too. You got all these different groups, and then you have one man or one God or one prophet, whatever different sects want to call them, a Sayyid or Rabbi or Nabab, whatever you want to call them. We have one individual who is able to take all these informations, demolish them down, bring the facts out, and then say, and this is your culture, and be able to do it without a doubt and still undebatable. Anybody saying they taking on Nuwapians to a debate is a lie, because Nuwapians haven't been speaking out until this day. And now I have to say, okay, you know what? I have to go back on my word, because I'm the one who said debates are corny, we shouldn't be doing that, and I still agree. But at the end of the day, we should not be debating. But I have to whoop your ass so I can show you where we're going. I gotta be able to say, because we going straight to Africa with this. So I gotta be able to shut you down, whether it be the top of the top, polites, or if it comes to the bottom of the bottom. I have to be able to say, look, because all of y'all are wrong. I can literally say that without a shadow of a doubt, that not one person in the conscious community has the facts. And the reason being is because you're either all right or you're not right at all. You can't have half the truth. You can't say, I got all the facts on the Hebrews, but I don't know about the Egyptians. You're going to have to know about the Hebrews, the Egyptians. You have to know about every single thing. And that's what Nuwapians did. Thus, 1,257 books and still writing. We constantly we're the only group that's still putting out information. Nobody else is putting out information, they're repeating it. Or they're creating different sects, which is just another interpretation. There's almost 3,000 different interpretations of the Bible. So I have to ask the Hebrew Israelite school, which one are we going into? Which one? And then once you tell me which one, then I'm going to yams you on that. Whatever it is, it's just going to be, it's because we were groomed, they don't understand that. You were groomed to respect and love that. We was groomed to yams that shit. We was built. It was called the Young Disciples back at our community. And we were literally groomed. We had a whole building called a Hall of Knowledge. Or I think it was 515 on Hart Street in Brooklyn. A whole building just built for the youth to be sitting there and we was debating each other. What about this? What about that? What about that? We know this stuff verbatim. So there is no... That's why, and that's really the main reason why Nuwapians don't debate, because it's not fair. It's like, you won't survive in here. You won't make it. If you think polite is a problem, wait till you see a student that continued. Not the students that fall off, and that's no disrespect, but you fell off whatever decisions you made. Wait till you see this, because the teacher hasn't stopped teaching. So if you're a student and you claim to be a student and you become a dropout, you leave out of class and you start teaching. So now you done left the classroom and now you're in the hallway and you dictating to the other teachers while that teacher's still teaching. You done missed this many years of information, this many books. So then therefore you're off the path too. So if people that's trying to follow people who's following Dr. York or seeking Dr. York information in Brother Polite, they would be being misguided as well. I'm not throwing shots at the Brother Polite. I'm spitting facts. If he disagree with me, then he has to address me about it. But he gonna have to say that these are facts. He has to admit that New Covenant and Nuwapian Nation makes an X. That's why I said in the last video, I said we travel in parallel. And we're going to hit together at that center point. And when we hit at that center point, then we're going to go off in two completely different directions. It's going to make the X, which is the woman, which is the God chromosome. The X chromosome is the woman. So this has to take place. So I have to address these people. I can't keep sitting around, and right now I'm speaking to my Nuwapian family. I have to be able to address these people. I can't sit here and let them keep punching on us when we have the answers to their questions while millions is being sat down. Nuwapians are at the point where we've reached so much knowledge that we're not arrogant with it. We've become so humble that we've become the lamb itself when the lamb gets attacked by the wolf. We're allowing y'all to bully us around. We're allowing y'all to push us around when we know it's like a midget pushing a giant, and he's like, "Yo, just get out of here, man." And then it takes that one person that's going to bring that backhand and put you on the floor. The reason why Nuwapians are not responding is not the fact that we're soft or anything like that. It's the fact that we're developed. Everything that everybody's seeking, we've already accomplished. So we're like, cool. If you don't want the information, and you want to slander our teacher, and you want to talk against us, then we won't help you. We'll let you stay here in America and die. Because right now, the only goal that's on your mind, whether you're conscious or unconscious, the only goal that's on your mind is let me get this money and move right where the white man is at. Nothing has changed. Your mindset has not changed at all. It's not let me help build my community. It's not let me help get people to Africa. It's not let me move myself to Africa. If I'm going to be selfish, at least move my own self to Africa. It's none of these different things. It's not let me give some scholarships out once you make this money. All it's about is taking off in these different directions. Like when the brother Floyd Mayweather said all lives matter. I took that as an insult. And the reason why I took that as an insult is because I don't care about the contracts and the money. Neither should you. You worth $500 million. You shouldn't care about the contracts and the money. If you got to sell your soul for these contracts to be a coon to this white man, then who are you? Why should we as black people buy the pay-per-view, watch your fights? We should be vote. I'd rather see a Mexican whoop your ass, and I'll bet money and lose money because I know you're going to win, but I'll lose money on him whooping your ass because you won't represent us. You finally get the opportunity. You get up there and you make the stage. You're representing the whole black community. Every single brother that's in the Detroit area, in the Michigan area, that's from the same hood that you're from, Floyd Mayweather. You got that opportunity to be able to say, you know what? I done made my money. I'm retired. I don't have to say nothing no more. Let me say how I really feel. Let me represent my people. And then you choose the white man. So therefore, that's who you comfortable with. It don't matter if you say, I only hire black people. That don't mean nothing. Because the black people don't know who the hell you hiring. They still lost. And they still looking up to you when you a coon. When you rather have a Rolex on your wrist, diamond out, and not worried about your brother who doesn't have it. Not worried about the people who can't have it. So then what we do in our mentality becomes, okay, I got to get this money, whichever means necessary, whether I got to be a conscious teacher and take thousands of dollars for debates, or I got to be a rapper, a football player, a basketball player, get out this hood and then turn around and then talk to my people, but then either guide them or misguide them. But either way it goes, it's misguiding them. If the first time I get a check, I got to head to Hollywood. So therefore, you ass backwards thinking. And this is not what Dr. York taught. That's not how we were taught to be raised. The moment we got some money, you saw a pyramid go up. The moment we got some money, you saw land start being developed. Houses start going out for no charge. We ain't charge people. Ain't no rent on Tamaray. It was just you come out and you live, bruh. You live, but you put in some work. You ain't gonna live for free. Come out here and put in some work. Help us build this stuff up, because we trying to make something that we can go back to. When a Chinese man come into America, he has a home. He can go back to China and Shanghai and look up at the 4,000-year-old temples. An Indian man can do the same thing. He can go back to India and look up at the monuments that his ancestors have built. We have nothing. Don't say Kemet, because Kemet is a cemetery. Everything is covered in sand. The noses are broken off. All of our resources, all our riches are scattered out through European-owned museums that no millionaire has, other than Dr. York, has tried to buy back. So I'm not trying to hear that. Kemet is a cemetery. Everything over there is dead, and Pan-Arabs who are suicidal because they're blowing up buildings and terrorizing everybody in the entire region or occupying your space. So you can even go over there with an AK-47, you're going to slap the shit out of a white man, or you're going to unify with your brother and get together. So therefore now I got to put the fist down on him. Now, as a parent, I done told my child 3-4 times what not to do, and now I gotta say, let me take off the belt. And no, not the Versace belt, brother, polite. Let me take off the standard belt, so I can take that Versace $800 belt back to the store and be able to put that money towards a community center in my community if I'm gonna do something. It doesn't matter if the community is white-owned or black-owned. Majority of communities are white-owned. It's the fact that your people are stuck. It don't matter whether the box is brown or white. It's the fact that your people are stuck. So either you're going to get them out, or you're going to make the position they in better and more suitable for them. Point blank, period. And that same thing, we're handling the same method with Dr. York. We either trying to get him out, or we're going to try to make his situation better. That's why I give a shout out to Victoria Broussard, my father's new lawyer. She's on it and she's getting it. Either we're going to get him out, which we're working towards, but right now we're trying to get him a medical transfer because he's been very sick lately and he's a very old man. So we're trying to, ensure that our master teacher, the person who's led us to have the mind open, where somebody can put $100,000 in front of my face and I don't have to sell my soul for it. I don't have to say this $100,000 about to buy me. This is my ticket. Forget my ticket. This is our ticket. Why? Because a plane ticket only costs $300 round trip. So if you gave me $100,000, look what I can do with it. That's just a small example of what we can do as a people. So now I got to go beat up on people. And this is what I was really, really trying not to do. When I came up on the platform, first thing I said, I'm going to be able to teach. I'm going to be able to innovate. I'm going to be able to teach these people what they want and what they need to hear, so we can be able to get to where we got to go. Nobody wants to hear it. Everybody wants to see me fight. So let me take off my shirt and beat your ass so we can get ready to get on this bus, because you're going to die if you stay here. When I say you're going to die, I mean it legitimately. The United States of America has been bullying people for the last 200 years, and all the countries are tired of it. North Korea damn sure is. Do you think the UN is? You think the UN is feeling okay with these different presidential elections? They already know what's about to happen. They only maintain peace because they have respect for Barack Obama. Whether you do or don't, they have respect for Barack Obama. So now, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, with that, man, it's like, our people are so brain dead. They're so lost, and that the fact that we have to sit here and we have to argue with each other to get a point across. But that doesn't mean it isn't necessary.
So let me ask you, what is your take on the Medu Neter? Because now you have the general, Sarah Sultan, young Pharaoh, going up against the Amun Ra squad. And they take is studying them and saying that Medu Neter has not really been deciphered. What is your take on that, brother? As a Nuwapian, we don't really deal with the Medu Neter like that, because we know that the Medu Neter is a Greek construct. Whether these people want to accept it or not, the Medu Neter is a Greek construct. When I was on the bill with young Pharaoh, the thing kept cutting off, but I was trying to explain to him. I said, I agree with you on the point of that the Medu Neter was translated by the Rosetta Stone. I agree with you on these different points of the Greek people coming in, because we know about 332 BC when Alexander the Great came in. We know that the hieroglyph, the ancient Egypt wasn't named Kemet until 198
38 BC when Caucasians was already living in Egypt, when they already had white Egyptians. So we already know that. So as far as the Medu Neter, the Medu Neter is a language. It's a well-respected language. But at the end of the day, what we can interpret it as in this day and time is not our language. Plus, it's not the oldest language. I don't know why people are going around saying that. Nwapuyi would be the oldest language if you're looking for the ancient languages of the Egyptians, pre-dynastic Egyptians, dynastic Egyptians, and all its previous eras. Then you would go into Nwapuyi, which is Nuwapic, what we as Nuwapians speak, and I'll break that down in a second. But the Medu Neter, yeah, in that case, according to the Medu Neter, some of them that young Pharaoh and the General Sarasudi said he say, I agree with on the Medu Neter to a certain extent.
Can you speak Nuwapian?
Yeah, I can speak Nuwapian.
Let me hear you say Sarnetta TV. Long live Sarnetta TV.
We don't have a word for TV. We don't have no word for that.
Okay, so what would you put that in replace?
In front of television?
Yes.
Oh, I don't even know what you put for television.
So let me hear you say a sentence. Let me see what it sounds like.
Okay. Nukador Nashunzi Ba Natharu.
Now, what was that?
I said, I am the all, and my soul is with the Natharu, the ancestors.
Okay. Now, I was watching, not that I was watching. I did a video with my brother, Sankofa, and he was talking about when he was a Nuwapian. And he was saying things like, man, you know, if you don't get that money, they'll beat your ass. Yeah. Do they really beat you if you don't have the money, brother? Through the Ansar school, which was the Islamic school and the Nubian Islamic Hebrew school, when we had the community and everything, you got your ass whooped. And I say it confidently. I say it. No, you laughing, but I'm so serious. Why?
Let me explain it. Let me explain it.
Go ahead.
You got your ass whooped. Reason being is because imagine you as an individual who's watching this video. You're leading a community. You just got now remember, think about the state that black people are currently in. They shiftless. They out on the street. They drinking. They smoking. So you done went and got all these people and you put them in a situation where they live for free. They can do whatever they pretty much want by the religious laws, and they good. They don't have nothing. They have no cares in the world. They don't have to work. They don't have to worry about food. Nothing. Everything is provided for them. So now you have people that's sitting around all day. How do you discipline those people in your community? See, everybody has a problem with that until your daughter gets her door kicked in by another black man in your new community in Africa. Now all of a sudden you say, oh shit, we can't be free spirit hippies no more. We're going to have to do something about this. So to keep stuff like that from happening, it wasn't you got your ass beat. Like in the aspect of it, as soon as you fuck up something, niggas just punch you in your head. No, we had our own police force. We could not put people in jail in Brooklyn. You're living in our community. You want to continue living in our community. This is what we had in the 80s. Now remember, it's a different era of time. So niggas will put their hands on you. The same people came off the street from gangs, from all this different stuff. So really, you got a community of criminals that are trying to reform themselves. How do you discipline that? Either you're going to put a bullet in them, you're going to lock them away in a basement in Brooklyn, or you're going to beat their ass and say, look, bruh, out of respect, because it's certain things that we don't do and we can't do it here. Now, in reference to the money, originally the community had you had to make $25 in the community to every day. That's what the brothers had to go do. That was their obligation. Why? Because when you're out there working, the sisters are in here and they helping write the books.
You have to make what?
You had to make, originally it was $25. This was in the 70s. This was in the 70s. So $25 is worth a little bit more. As the 80s came in, a new era, my father raised it to a $100 quota. The $100 quota meant that, okay, I got to go out here, make this money, got to sell $100 worth of books, etc., etc. Some brothers would go out, make $100, $200, $300 in a day, and then they be good. They sleep on their ass for the rest of the week. Other brothers, they were motivated by it. People say, well, why we got to make a $100 quota? If that's your mindset, you're not ready to progress as a people. Because you have to be able to say, we got to go out here and be willing to make this money. All we do, we selling books, oils, incense. Dr. York said we got to make $100, bring the $100 back in the community. When we bring the $100 back in the community expands. So as this happened, the community grew. We went from Brooklyn to Coney Island to Jersey. We hit all the, next thing you know, we had the whole East Coast. Next thing you know, before Dr. York went to jail, we had more than 200 stores in the United States of America. We was in Tokyo. We got stores in the Bahamas. We everywhere because we all worked for and by each other. This is the system. The brothers would work. The brothers would go out and hustle and sell the stuff. You had some brothers stay in the community, they stood guard. You had some brothers who were builders and improved the buildings. And then we had other brothers that went and propagated and sold the stuff on the street. It's called direct marketing. They took the product directly to the market who wants it. This process actually expands the nation because you're out tabliqing. Tablik means to teach in Arabic. Tabliqing people.
I know that, man.
Okay, I'm saying for the people who don't. You know, I know you know that's your era. So, you know, you're out there tableaking and you're teaching these different brothers and you bringing them in the community. Now, what are the sisters doing? We own stores in the community. It's not just a bunch of houses. We got candy shops. We got laundromats. We got businesses. We a multi-million-dollar business. So now the sisters are moving at these places. We got bakeries, newspapers, all this stuff. The sisters are handling all that while the brothers is out. Now, in the 80s, this was illegal, but you can't think about what's illegal when it's dealing with the condition of your people. My father had the women go get food stamps. So all the sisters in the community, back then the food stamps were $1 paper. I know you know that. And the sisters would bring the food stamps. And you can't do this. You can't do this now. Don't do this now. God damn, you get yourself into problems. But the sisters would go bring in all the food stamp money. That would buy the whole nation's food. The brothers go out and work and bring the book money in. That provided the whole nation's money. And then everybody succeeded together and we grew. We lived for and by each other. If a brother came up short while other brothers are busting their ass to make $100 a day, some days it's slow, some days it's cold, some days you gotta hit the trains, some days you gotta do different stuff like that to make your $100 quota, and some niggas is laying down, some niggas is chilling. So you had two choices. You can get the fuck out, or you're gonna take this ass whooping and go on with your day. This is in the 80s. It's a different era. Nobody had time for that. So now, the white man beating your ass for nothing. We beating your ass to progress. So, and you'll learn that if you go to the military in boot camp. In boot camp, they kick your ass. They put soaps in fucking socks and beat you up with it like, yo, we trying to, because you fall short, we all fall short. And that was the system. That system built the Nuwapian. Notice, we're one of the only, the Nation of Islam was killing people. So, you know what I mean? They said, no disrespect, but y'all, they was killing people. We weren't doing that. You would get your ass. Now, some people, most of the people that slanderous today, that's talking all this stuff, these are niggas who got their ass whooped. They got their ass whooped in the community, and then they didn't like it. So they were like, yo, I ain't about to get my ass whooped. I'm out. So cool. But guess what? The Nuwapian Nation is the only nation that built their own, established their own land off of that system. By the time the late 90s came in, we weren't doing that no more. Because it was the people that was there, the elders, they was able to set the tone for the youth. So then you had these young, because remember, think about who you saving when you're on the street. You're saving the drug dealer. You're saving the gangbanger. You're saving these different people. So they coming in the hood, they coming in the nation with the same mindset. You got 5,000 people in this one community. It's no way that brother's not going to have a problem with that brother. How do you solve that problem? Make them talk it out? Come on now. How many times that work? They don't even work in political debates. People throwing threats at Hillary Clinton, people throwing threats at Donald Trump. So how does that work out? No, we had discipline. We moved like an army. And that's why we was able to succeed so much. We succeeded so much. Now by around 92, 93, that was gravy. That was a time. That was a part of the past. We was back beyond that. It wasn't even an announcement. It just didn't happen no more. Niggas came up short, and it was like, all right, whatever, you good. Why? Because we was millionaires. We had hundreds of millions of dollars, and we was getting things done. Everybody did their part. Congratulations. The marketing strategy is over. Now, if somebody says I have a problem with that because I don't feel, then go to the white man. But at the end of the day, with us, what we were doing at that time was establishing an order. You go to the military, it's the same thing. You join the police force, it's the same thing. We had to be a force in the 80s. The world is soft in 2016. If you think these killings is something, the 80s was another story. It was more than that. You was getting your ass beat every day. It wasn't you hearing about it, you was the victim. You wasn't hearing about it, you were the victim. The only reason why we're hearing about it so rapidly and it seemed like a lot is because of social media. It was probably 100 times this in the 80s. Most of the brothers are still in jail right now. You know how people, African Americans are dying in jail in their elderly ages that's put in jail for no reason? There's still people in jail that was put in jail in the 70s and the 80s for racial problems that never got solved, lied on, said they touched a white girl, whatever, and dying in jail right now, innocent men. So we inducted order in our community. We can't put you in jail. We're not about to kill nobody. There's nothing now once we get our own land, then we can develop a court system. But, and then we can't, what we going to do? We're going to fine you? Fine you to what court? You have a social security. We have no control over you. You literally come in our community and do what the hell you want. So we can't kick everybody out every one thing they do. We can't keep issuing warnings to grown adults. Remember, these are adults. These ain't children. These are adults. So what do you do with that? You whoop your ass as a man. You get your ass whooped. Sisters, they handle their stuff another way. Sisters talk because they women. But men, you got your ass punched on. Now, nobody killed you. Nobody broke your nose and shit. But you got punched in the head. Yeah, you need to get punched in the head. We had to be a father figure. I was one of the niggas getting. That's why I respect it, because I was a nigga who got punched in the ass as Dr. York's son. It didn't mean shit, nigga. Dr. York, the one who told me to beat your ass. Bop. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because it takes a village to raise a child. And as you coming into this new school of thought, you're coming in as a child. So I have to change the mindset of what you have and take you into a brighter mindset. Me personally, now if you got a problem with it, then don't be a part of it. But I didn't have a problem with it. As a person getting punched in, because I was always fucking up. I was always fighting, running in the woods, trying to sneak over to the sister's house, trying to do all, we teen it. That's what it was. We growing up, man. So, and when you grew up, your mama gave you your ass whooping. In the community, as a man, you needed to get your ass whooped. Because we weren't about to have no grown-ass brother running in sister's house, raping sisters, or talking to sisters, or doing whatever. We're not about to have nobody stealing the money. We're not about to have that shit. So we had to have order. And that's what it was. Now, at this day and age, no, we don't have to do that no more.
Powerful.
But at that time period, we set the groundstone.
Let me ask you this. This up-and-coming election with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Who are you going for? Are you going for Hillary or Donald? Or either? Why?
Okay. One, if I had to choose, desperately had to choose, I would kill myself. And the reason being is because either way, the ship is sinking. The United States of America is not our homeland, and I'm sure my Moorish brothers is going to applaud me for this one. So shout out to my Moors. They're going to applaud me. Those are my brothers. But the United States of America is not our land. The United States of America is not for us. We were brought here. Now, now for the people who say, well, Native Americans, yeah, we were Native Americans. I agree with you. Yeah, the Moors and the Moabites, yeah. But at the end of the day, you ain't got no power over this shit. They showed you when you get power over it, nothing happens. More killings took place when Obama was in office than when he wasn't. So, you know what I'm saying? So, this ain't for us. So what you have to accept is, I can vote. There's two cheeks on the same ass. Either way it go, I'm fucked. So, I got to let it go. I got to wash my hands with it and say, let me go somewhere that always had black presidents. Let's go to Africa. Let's go to Ghana. Let's go to Libya. Let's go to Niger. Let's go to Kuwait. Let's go to these different places and live in peace and harmony. Where polygamy is legal if you want to execute that. Where houses and stuff are cheaper. You know, minimum wage is different. Everything is a whole different world. And a government in which you could be proud of. A flag in which you can hold. You don't have to always hold your revolutionary, because really the red, black, and green is a war flag. You represent like, I don't give a fuck. But you can go to a country where you could say, yo, I'm holding this flag with pride. Whether my actual genealogy ancestors are here from here or not, we all resonated from the African continent. So it don't matter where you go. You can go live in the nicest or the poorest, as long as you are in that state of mind. Donald Trump is a militant. Donald Trump wants to execute war because he's a Republican. Republicans, they make money off of war. War during the times of war in the United States of America history, war has been the most progressive time for the United States of America. During the Cold War is when not during the Cold War. When you dealing with Vietnam, you know, all these different wars like that we got to the moon. Because it's a constant demand to build more than the next country. So your scientists are working around the clock. When you're not at war, it's slow. So Donald Trump as a businessman, think about him as a businessman, he's saying this will be financially successful for the country. May not be for the broker man, but for the richer man, he's going to be pocketing. All the billionaires are going to get really rich because of new inventions, innovation. The Cold War, all these different wars, it was innovation. I was just talking to my wife about that the other day. We was talking about watching a movie that came out in 2002, and I said, yo, it's crazy the difference between 2002 and 2010. In 2002, if you came to me and showed me an iPhone in 2002, I would have thought you was an extraterrestrial. I'd been like, what is that? But then now, it's so normal. We got Bluetooth. It's electrical currents moving through the air, meeting up with the exact electronic that you sent it to. Instead of it hitting every electronic, it goes exactly to the one you sent it to, and then it's able to play music. So now sound waves that are unheard are moving through electric currents in the air that you can't see, that's not electrocuting people, and going into your device to play music. Look at the level of science that we at. We got drones.
Damn, when you explain that shit.
When you think about it, it's like, yo, it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Drones.
We got drones. Drones is, you know, they're able to travel long distances. They're able to deliver Amazon. Think about it. We live in a time where the store can come to you without a truck. They come in airborne, drop it on your porch, ring your doorbell, and then fly away with a destination, all by remote or by computer mindset. We live in a mindset where they have satellites that are finding Earth-like planets. This is the era of time we live in. Why, as an African American, why are you dedicating your energy or your blood, sweat, and tears into progressing this country when you could be taking your level of knowledge and intellect over there and helping your people? Let's help get an African country on the moon. Fuck fuck Armstrong. You know what I'm saying? Let's get our people to progress. Because right now, all this succession is happening to the Caucasian. And 90% of it is created by us. Whether you want to say, well, the iPhone wasn't, it doesn't matter. When you go into the first phone, we were the innovators. We were the founders. They just built off of what was already here. We founded these different things. So when you look at it from a wider scale, you're like, yo, I'm living in the future. And now I have a future level of knowledge, even here in America. So now with the level of intellect that I have as a college graduate, to my brother and sister, congratulations. As a high school graduate, to my brother and sister, congratulations. Middle school graduate, or whether you took a smaller course, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever. The point that you have a level of intellect that you've achieved in your life, or you didn't even finish school, but you went and got something, and you know how the street work, take that knowledge over to Africa and make our people progress. In the year 2000, Ghana implemented a law. And the law was built that all African Americans and all Africans around the world could come back to Ghana and live there. And they would make the citizenship process easier for us as a people so we could get back there so we could help progress. That means when you go over there, you're worth more over there than you are over here. Over here, you a slave, but over there, you a king. But you'd rather be a king, a king under the slave master than be a king over there. You follow what I'm saying? Let me rephrase that. When you are over here, you'd rather be wealthy in America and travel to Miami and California and all over America instead of living over there and becoming a king, where you own the world. Because over here, you a king under a slave master. Over there, you a king under another king. A king that respects you as his brother. Over here, you don't matter how much money you got, you still dirt. You walk in the airport, you got Giuseppe's on, they looking at you like, look at this nigga. Whether you say I'm expressing myself or not, or we as black people, we got to express ourselves. Every black leader want to come with the psychological construct that the black man is currently in America, and that shit means nothing. You're telling me about what we already experiencing every day instead of what we got to do. The past is dead. The present is the past. And the future is right now. So you have to make the decisions today of where you're going to go. The past is dead, bruh. It's over with. The present is dead. It's dying as I'm speaking. Each sentence is dying as I'm speaking. So where are we headed as a people? We're falling off. We're losing our footing. We're digressing. School grade scores digressing. And then for the people who say, well, I'm going to go build a school back in America. So now I have what? One black male who's a graduate and one black male who's a drug dealer, because everybody can't go to your school. So now with my son, who is a graduate, who I got in that Pan-African school, who's driving in his new Mercedes that he succeeded in life. Now your son, who didn't live in the region, so he couldn't get in that school, now kills my son. Now we still got one black man in jail and one black man dead. So what's the solution? The solution is get the hell out of America. So why are we still worried about political debates? Why is there should be no black population voting? Because either way it go, we fucked. Either way it go. If Hillary Clinton get in office, everybody's going to attack America. Why? Because they're going to feel like it's easy. They're going to look at her as weak. And she's demonstrated to the world she's weak. She has a very short temper. All her debates, she's quick to go off. And I'm not going to say it's because she's a woman, because I know some women that's very patient. But she's quick to go off. Maybe it's the animalistic inside of her. The Caucasian, the canine. The canine cannon. Sons of cannon that's inside of her. You know what I'm saying? That is making her that way. But that's how she is. So I wouldn't vote for her. I didn't vote for Obama the second time. First time I was with him. First time I was like, we gonna see. Second time I was like, yeah, you full of shit.
So let me ask you this now. When you look at the mind, talk to me about this damn mind. Scientifically, the black mind and then the white mind that's inside of the mind of Europeans. Because we definitely got two different mindsets. They think, like when you look at the police shooting, they justify everything. Now I'm saying it's something really psychologically wrong with the mind of Europeans. Because we think differently, brother.
Yeah, we do.
Go in on that. First deal with the black mind and then deal with how white people deal with situations, with their mindset.
The black mind is a mind of levels. It's a mind of me. It's like being in a room with doors, and every door you open, you see another door. That's how our mind is open. Our mind is, but for some reason, all of these doors, when you're born, they're open, but your parents close them.
It's like common sense with us.
Common sense, it lacks.
With them, it's like they struggle just to get the one thing right. They can't get it right.
As the master teacher explained to us, he explains it as a spell. He says African Americans are literally under a spell. You be building with a brother, and he's feeling everything you're saying, and all of a sudden something snaps in his head, and he don't want to hear nothing you got to say no more. He's like, nah, fuck that. Da, 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 da. After he was just building with you for 15 minutes. These are signs of something that's psychologically put in our brain that's changing us. Now, how does our mind supposed to work? Our minds, we're gods. So our mind is working on designing and creating. Like I was explaining at one of my lectures, I said there was a brother that I saw in Brooklyn who had a porch. And he put the fold-out chair on the porch. He taped it with duct tape to a basket, punched out the bottom of the basket, hung it up over his house, and turned into a basketball goal. The kids on the block that was on the other side of the street laughed at him. Oh, you ratchet, you this and that. I'm looking at him like that's an engineer. That is our minds. Our minds are building things. Most African-American boys, the first thing they want when they're kids is Legos. They want to build something. Or they want to go out in the street and they want to play basketball. They want to physically enhance themselves. It's a constant enhancement. Caucasians don't have that. Caucasians actually spend more time watching us than they do thinking. They watch us. How do they watch us? Why? Because when you turn on the TV, or who all you see. Now you say, well, I see them on the... No, I'm talking about out of academia, out of knowledge, out of physicality. Who are you seeing? When you look at LeBron James, the Cleveland, how many people you see in the crowd that's black? They all mainly Caucasian, 80% of the crowd, and they're watching in amazement as he's demonstrating his godly abilities. Some of these guys are jumping 5 feet in the air. You know what I'm saying? They're achieving, LeBron James, he's 6'8", he's running a 4.2 and a 40. He's zipping. You know what I'm saying? So they are constantly attracted by that, and what they do is they learn from it. They study us. It's like you put an animal in its own little habitat, an exhibit, and you study it, and then you imitate it as much as you can. So now you see the brothers, the Caucasian brothers walking around with dreads, and they want us as conscious brothers to accept them. Because they're like, well, we smoke weed too. You know what I'm saying? I say namaste. And I'm like, nah, bruh. Because you saying that stuff to you, it doesn't mean anything. To me, it's a spiritual connection. Whether it be Yoruba, Nuwapu, Hebrew Israelite, whatever, it means something to me. To you, it is another thing to be a part of. Because they don't have that level of value for things. Their value for what's tangible is not there because they're animalistic. So if you want to get into the talk about evolution, then whose evolution are we talking about? Because if we talk about the evolution of the Caucasian race, then you could talk about how they were genetically modified. You could talk about all the different Homo species. And I say Homo species because you have the Homo erectus. You got all the different ape-like men that was all existent, and most of them were found around the same million years time. So they couldn't have been evoluting in seconds. So somebody or something, an extraterrestrial, outside, extra means outside, terra means earth, astral in space, was developing and playing with, manipulating the genes and the chromosome structure of these beings to formulate them into what they wanted. At the same time, black people were already existing. So you have to say, who was over there? Were we over there? Was that my people over there genetically modifying these people? Or was that somebody else that was there messing with them, altering them? And then for the purpose of what? These are the questions we should ask when we asking about Hillary Clinton. We should be asking, how did these people even come into existence? And how the hell they get the foot over us when we was in Egypt? Because at the same time, like I showed the video on where I was talking to young Pharaoh. I showed the pictures of where they got stones found from the Aztecs, with the Aztecs riding dinosaurs. There's no way, if 65 million years ago that dinosaurs existed and that's when they went extinct, that Native Americans, that's about 7,000 years ago or less, could have been at the same time. Unless they existed at the same time, unless the Native Americans were older. Different things were older. So now when you start studying that, you say, Then you got to go into Pangea. Then you go, And all these different things make you go, And then when you actually get to thinking about it, then you're able to say, okay, so now we're dealing with a greatest time period. Now Medu Neter means nothing to me. Because Medu Neter has a birth date and an end date. These different languages mean nothing to me. The religions mean nothing to me. Who was God to the Native Americans? Because they're older than the Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? Whoever they follow is who I would rather follow because he's older. You the one that's lost. So I'm looking at you today and look where you at. You know what I'm saying? The Native Americans, they rich. So who were they following? And then they was in different forms of spirituality, tapping into their ancestors. The same as the Egyptians, the same as the Sumerians, the same as all these different people. So then now you got to say, okay, and you have to look at things from a broader scale. So the mental capacity of the black man is beyond. The ideas that the average African-American male comes up with in a day could change the entire world. We're just not given the opportunities to do it. This is why I push the Move to Africa movement somewhere where your ideas will be better respected and you could progress your people. Because right now, your ideas get bought. What the brother Dr. Dre do? He come out with some innovating headphones. Crazy. Loud, sound perfect. The white man jumped right on it. Let me give you $3 billion. Shut up. I'm taking that. Now, you may say, well, that brother got $3 billion. That's cool, but that's his baby. That's his child that he developed, that he should watch grow and progress till it makes $3 billion plus. Because nobody's going to invest $3 billion into something they can't make 30 off of. That's just business. So when you're looking at it from a broader scale, our mind, we are the creators. They are the imitators. And that's how their brain is. It's like a mockingbird. The mockingbird is just copying what all the other birds do. But the parrot is the one who actually studies the sound and actually says, okay, this is how you're supposed to speak. This is how you're supposed to make this noise. That's how you're supposed to make that noise. But the Mockingbird just says, that's what you did, and they'll copy it, and sometimes they won't sound sometimes they don't even sound the same. They're just trying. They're constantly chasing behind us, trying to keep up with the African race. To the point where they got us wanting to be like them while they want to be like us. So now we're living in the image of the beast. We're perming out here and putting the blonde in it. And now you see the brothers with the afros and they so-called conscious, they got big blonde streaks. Nah, bruh. I don't care how fly you think that shit is, man. Looking like a Caucasian ain't nothing fly about that when you're the god of the planet. Because now you're looking like a slave. Now you're looking like you're traumatized by white supremacy. And that's what I call it. I be watching TV and I see these sisters still wearing sew-ins. Still, I'm like, yo, how long are y'all gonna do this, man? The 90s was a different era for us, and now look at what we become. We've fallen down, and now we gotta get back up again. And that's when Nuwapians study. We're studying that falling point. From 2000 to 2010, what happened to black people? All the people that was conscious went this way, then came back out. And then as you start to study more, then you'll see the different, the study of the cycles, the end of the world, the 2012, all these different things. But you have to study. I'm not saying the world was supposed to end in 2012. It was actually a precession change with the planet's alignment, different stuff like that was what the Mayans were talking about. But Caucasians can't translate. They don't know how to translate our languages. But go ahead.
Right. Talk to me, man, about in the 80s, Dr. York had everybody listening to him, the youth, the generation, the younger generation. The hip-hop movement was tuned into Dr. York. Why the hip-hop movement today is not tuned in? Talk to me about the hip-hop movement today, and do you ever see it getting back into the original state where they would bring the message to our people once again?
Well, you know, the hip-hop movement in that era of time, they were paid much less. So as long as you were paid not even enough to be considered hood rich, you was paid enough to have a big gold rope on, drive a Mercedes Benz, but the record company owned all your stuff, they owned everything. So you, as black people minds evolutionized, and we went from being, you know, Rakim, who was somebody who was mainly owned by the industry. He was cold rapper, love him to death. He was actually a part of our community, but the industry would own the people of that era. They really owned you. To now you have the Jay-Z's who say, shoo, and they just come right out of it like it's nothing, and now they're the billionaires. Now they're pointing the fingers in the decision making. But something in our mind triggers, once we get to that point, I don't want to help them niggas. I don't want to do nothing with them. Why I want to help them for? They wolves. They got the wolf in them, and they dogs, but inside they really wolves. And I'm like, you talking about your own people, my brother. You calling your own people wolves when you a wolf too. So if you a wolf, what does a wolf must do? Get the pack together and then we jump on the prey. Why are you calling the other wolves prey? Because the white man petting this one? The white man petting this one, so you fine over here, but we wolves. When the same genetics that we have, you have.
Right.
That's what some brothers use. They use the example, well, we all, it's like everybody's dog, but deep down inside them, they got a wolf inside them. Well, I'm looking at you, and you blacker than me. So that wolf must be even greater inside of you. But the white man petting you, he done made you a house dog while we outside barking. So you looking at us like we savage and we the same race. We're the savages though. Because you're being pampered by the white man. The same white man that hung your brothers and sisters. Same white man that's killing your brothers and sisters. The same white man who's keeping the hood the hood. Don't blame the people in the hood for the hood. People in the hood would change it if they could. They don't have the power to change it. They don't have that power. So the hip-hop community has altered with the expansion of finance. When money came in the picture and brothers started getting $1 million checks, then you watched from the 90s when brothers' biggest goal was a Mercedes Benz, changed into 2016 a Bugatti. You went from a $40,000 car in the 90s to now a $1.3 million car. You went from, you know what I'm saying? You went from a Cadillac to driving Aston Martin. Cars that we never even heard of as a people. And when the white man say, well, let me give the black man a better reward, it keeps you in the mindset. So now, when you was conscious, when you was broke, when that white man signed that check, now all of a sudden you a pampered brother now you can say, well, you know what I mean? I used to make everything that's going on right now. But you keeping your mouth closed because of a check? Because of the money? When now that you have the money, because remember when you was in the hood coming up, you was like, yo, I'm only doing this rapping stuff so I can get my people to follow me because, you know, they want to be rappers. So when I make it, then I'll be able to guide them. And in somewhere, the rappers converted you and changed you. When you went into the hip hop world, it changed them. And you say, well, I got to put on the cloak. So now you got to put on so now you a pretender. You a fraud. This is in our genetics. You don't have to put on no damn cloak. You come as you come, and they'll accept you as they accept you. And you say, well, Dr. York put on the cloak. Dr. York put on a cloak with religions. So he put on a respectable cloak. He became the greatest rabbi to be able to lead the Hebrews. He became the greatest imam to lead the Muslims and then take them out of it. He didn't go become the drug dealer to lead the Muslims. He didn't go dress up as it, because now the young brothers and sisters growing up, they sagging their pants because you sagging it as a conscious brother or not as a conscious brother. And you may say, well, sagging is our hip-hop culture. No, that's a suicidal culture. Because now you just fit a profile of the nigga who just robbed that corner store over there. So now when the bullets fly, they flying at you. So now what you do is when you got your check, you moved up and you say, you know what, we getting out of here. We going to where it's safe. Where the wolves ain't at no more. Where that is at. Oh, we going to the Caucasians to live. There's more wolves in the Caucasian community. They lynch. They used to lynch us. So you more scared of the brother on the street who has beef with another brother with a stray bullet than the nigga who's coming and setting your house on fire? What are you more afraid of? And why are we still in a state of afraid or oppression when there is a land right across the water, is a 12-hour flight away? So you are 12 hours from your own succession. Africans in America can get better jobs in Africa. They can go work at hotels, at resorts. They speak proper English. Remember, over there, you're the foreigner. You speak better English than the people over there. So now you're getting good jobs. Now you're making 40 an hour over there when you wasn't making 7 over here. It doesn't make any economic sense unless there's a presence of a spell or some form of control where you still want to be the white man, even if you holding the RBG. You still like, damn, if I could just be able to, the moment I get that yacht, then all of a sudden, I ain't seen not one picture of a yacht with an RBG flag on it. I ain't seen not one. And if you got it, I'm proud of you. But at the end of the day, take your yacht overseas, because the information that got you to that level can succeed the people over there who are your people. But we take the Africans that come over here that give us attitudes because they want to be the new Negroes. They coons. That's why they come in here. They leaving the motherland to come over here. So they the coons coming over here, and we take their disrespect towards us. Oh, that sister who do my hair, I can't stand her. She da-da-da-da. What she got to do with your progression? So now you betting and gambling your soul on the weight of another. The era of today between hip-hop, Hollywood, it means nothing. And as a real teacher, you will never conform yourself or adapt yourself to such foolishness if you have the intellect to keep yourself out of it, to be able to teach your people. You will never you never got to take a damn knee down to somebody that you trying to save. You saying, look, I'm trying to save you, so now I got to sniff the coat to save the crackhead? And now we both crackheads. And now the next leader come. Well, let me sniff it too. And now everybody's a bunch of crackheads, and the white man's happy. He's like, the cycle goes on. That's why he promotes the RBG flag. That's why they allowing y'all to do all the protesting and shit. That shit is, they making money. You buying markers to make a sign. His markers. You buying posters to make a sign. His posters. That money could have been saved and bought $500 ticket, you in Africa. Save up a little more money, you got you a little apartment. Most African currency is less than American, meaning that you have more money over there than you have over here. So if you got $50,000 here in the United States of America, in Ghana you have $200,000. The upper middle class in Ghana is $636 in America. That's how much you got to make a month. So you are a rich man, you are a king over there, but you rather be a slave over here because you want to tap dance for the white man. You want to be able to sit in your house, a millionaire in Los Angeles, because that's what you always dreamed of. Because I saw Puffy doing it. But Puffy done visit Africa. You ain't. That's why when the brother Young Pharaoh said, well, most of us scholars haven't been to Africa, I said, speak for yourself. Don't speak for me. Because you speaking for somebody who been. So when you running all that, the Egyptians and nah, say that. Just talk to somebody who ain't been to Egypt. Because you talk to somebody who been there and seen the wall with his own eyes, not pictures, then I have a whole different outlook on life, bruh. You ain't seen what I seen. You ain't been through the hood. When you say you been through the hoods and shit, you ain't been through my hoods. So my hoods is Africa. Fuck Crenshaw. And I love my brothers over there, but y'all get what I'm saying. My hood is Africa. That's what I'm repping to the fullest. Whether it be the RBG flag, Pan-African flag, the Ghanaian flag, whoever, I'm repping whatever my people constructed. Because most people don't even know the RBG flag is a Sudanese flag. It was created by Dusa Ali. And Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey took it. And they adopted it. And it wasn't a bad thing. They looked up to Dusa Ali for the work he was doing in Sudan. And they changed the order that the colors were in. Originally the black was on top. And they put the red on top. And they said, look, this is going to be our revolutionary flag. That's cool. But that was in 1920s, 1930s. We over almost 100 years later, and we still talking about Marcus Garvey. Not saying don't talk about Marcus Garvey. I'm saying take what he was trying to do. You want to stay in what he was doing instead of what he died trying to do. I would be trying to execute what he was trying to do, not what he was doing. What was his goal? His goal was to get the hell out of here. But while he was planning to do that, he was in America. So I'd rather stay a revolutionary in America. Or everybody want to be a teacher now. Everybody want to be some people have to stay. You have to have your teachers and your students. I noticed that. In this day and time, everybody says, well, I'm going to be a leader. If everybody's a leader, who's following? And don't say, I don't want to be the follower. Somebody has to follow. I had to follow. I had to follow. Y'all ain't see who the hell I was until 2-3 months ago. Because I was in a state of following, studying, being humble, until I could be able to stand up, not as a successor, still as an ascended student. Still not taking the title of successor. Still not taking the title of heir. You never heard me say it. Never said it. Why? Because I respect the teacher that taught me. To the point where I say, nobody could succeed a founder. How you going to succeed a founder when you building off of his foundation? The hell? But you call yourself, I've seen that, I'm the real Prince York, or I'm the Dr. York successor. How? When whatever you're trying to do, you're going to be succeeding off of a succession that already took place. A foundation. That's what the founder, he founded, he built the foundation of it. And now you think that you're somebody special. You're nobody important. You're misguiding our people with lies, with hopes, with dreams. They're coming, they're supporting your debates and your lectures for what? When you give them nothing. See, and that's why I tell people, I say, when I go out and I get ready to do these debates, I want everybody to come out and see this. Because when I do it, I'm ending it. When I do it, I'm coming out and I'm going to teach the people, and I'm going to teach them well. But it's not going to be, Captain Tazarayach said he won that debate. Ain't going to be no discrepancies. It shouldn't be. When you teaching a doctrine that you know is bull. When El Shaddai, Hebrew Strong's 7700 states that El Shaddai means one who eats flesh. So the God that they're calling on is a demon. I can name over 19 verses in the Bible talking about God telling other people to eat human beings. Eat the fruit of the womb. Cannibalism in the Bible. All through Leviticus is a goddamn cookbook of how much people are eating each other and blood sacrifice and drink my blood and bite. So this is what we following though. This is what we following as a people. So would you follow a blind man? I damn sure wouldn't. I wouldn't take directions from a blind man at all. But guess what? I'll take his wisdom. I'll propagate his story. If he had a good story to tell, I'll say, look, that right there, that makes a lot of sense. Or everything that you went through while you was a blind man. That's some wisdom that somebody else can use. As a Christian or a Hebrew, you got wisdom in what you did. And I respect you for that, General. I respect you for that, Captain. But wisdom is not always knowledge. Wisdom is experience.
Give us some of the contradictions in the Bible.
Man, there's so many. It's so many. That's why I said I want to walk through it. But I have my notes. So I came prepared because I knew somebody was going to say, yo, give them to me, yo. Let them hear it. Because they think you're bluffing until you shut somebody, until they hear the first one and they like, oh, shit. So let me get my notes up real quick. But yeah, it's not even, and it's not even a laughing matter. I know there's like my young brother who he caught. That's my brother. He's a Nuwapian. But he laugh and joke too, bro. These niggas are seriously lost. And I'm not trying to convert Captain Tazarayach. Because I can't convert you. Why? Because Nuwapu is not something you convert to. Nuwapu is something you either are or not. You either are naturally a Nuwapi and naturally have your African spirituality inside you, or you don't. Point blank period. So the people, these teachers of it, I'm not trying to convince Phil Valentine about Egyptology. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convince the nigga who all they heard was him. They didn't get a chance to meet Prince York. All they met was him, and that was their way out. I'm trying to save that brother. Damn, my phone is acting a fool. My phone don't want y'all to get these facts. But there's contradictions all through the Bible. You have let's talk about Psalms 82 verse 1, where it says God is on a council of many gods. Let's go into the Hebrew language and dissect what that means. Because when Hebrews say, well, we believe in one God, right? You believe in one God. That's what you state. But then if you translate the Bible in Hebrew, then it doesn't say God. It says Elohim. And if you actually know Hebrew the way you claim to know Hebrew, then you would know that the letter Aim means what? Or Yod. Aim or Yod. Which means what? It's a plural stance. You see what I'm saying? That's your S. The Yod or Aim. So the moment you add Elohim, then it just became more than one God. And that's what the Hebrew Bible says. It's so clear that any Hebrew reader or writer or studier, or whether you're fluent or not, if you know the language, you know the grammar, you know the pronunciation. So you're able to say that's a plural word. So there's more than one God. That's what they're saying. Okay, you don't speak Hebrew, you don't want to speak Hebrew, read it in King James Version. It says God. It says Lord God. It says Lord. It says thou Lord God. But then Hebrew Israelites will say, and this is their cop-out. See, we've been doing this so long, I already know what you're going to say. So every Hebrew Israelite right now, they're saying, well, we don't say God, we say Most High. Well, the moment you say Most High, you just admitted that there's a close high, a mid-high, and a low high. So who's the Most High? The Most High is Yahweh. And then if you say, who's the lowest high, then you just said the devil's the lowest high. So now you just deified the devil by making him one of the highs. So isn't that a sin? as well. And if we break down the word Yahweh, what does Yahweh mean? Do they even know? They'll say, well, Yahweh is the word, the name, the God. That's what Muslims say for Allah too. Allah means the God. When Allah actually means the source. But they don't know that because they don't speak the real languages. They going by what somebody with this imam or this rabbi told them. And actually, Yeh, Y-E-H, Yeh means good. Weh, W-E-H means bad. So the title of your God means good and bad. So if you're saying my name is Yahweh bin Yahweh, then what are you saying? You're saying good bad and good bad. The hell do you mean? But then when you say that to them, they get mad. Why do you call yourself Israelites instead of Israelites? Because in Hebrew, it would be with a Y. There's no I. It's Yis. Well, there's an I, but it's not in front of Israel. It's Yisraelites. You see what I'm saying? Why are you saying, oh, we worship Jehovah when there's no J or V in Hebrew? So how could Yahuwah even equal Jehovah? Yahuwah is supposed to be equivalent to Jehovah, but if I take the J and V out, I still can't make Yahuwah. Who is Yahuwah? Who is Yahweh? So you don't speak the language, so you can't. That's why when Captain Zoic said, "Well, Prince York, he playing. He just a kid." I'm like, I'm playing. You playing. You playing yourself right now. I'm sparing you for the purpose of saying, let me try to teach people a different method, so I don't have to stump all over you. Okay, now my microphone is coming up. Let me try not to stump all over you.
What? Are you on the internet?
Nah, I'm on my personal notes.
Oh, because I was gonna put you on the line. All right, go ahead.
You about to put it up there?
No. I was going to give you the Wi-Fi so it could come up quick.
Oh, no, that's all good. I got it. I got the data, my brother. My bills is paid. You know what I mean? But when we go into it, I mean, you can read the whole beginning, the whole Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. You said go into the contradictions. We can go into the, let's see. All right, we can go into the, we can talk about the books that the Hebrews claim, the lost books of the Bible, that they know nothing about. Or as a matter of fact, let's keep it on something that everybody's heard before. Everybody's heard the Hebrew Israelites say these 12 tribes they come from, right? Will we address that? Because this is the stuff, see, to people, they're saying, damn, he giving away all his truth. I ain't even got, that's one book. It's 4 of those. There's 4 of them. Then there's one thick one. There's one really big one that's finished, and then you have the 4 little ones. That's the pamphlet. And that's over 200 pages. But let's go into it. So if we talk about the 4 different tribes, who are the 4 tribes, right? Israel, who is Jacob, has how many kids? How many kids does Israel have? 13. Most Hebrews will say 12. He has 13. He has 12 sons and 1 daughter. Each one of these sons, he considered a tribe because of their genealogy. But you can't necessarily say these are the 12 tribes, and you can't necessarily attach yourself to that because these are just 12 out of numerous of people. When they speak of these 12 tribes, and it's not that this is wrong, it's the way they attribute it. If I say I see smoke, it's so different than when I say I see fire. If I say I see fire, you might run and try to call somebody. If I say I see smoke, you might say, oh, somebody might be barbecuing over it. And you keep walking. So what they say to you is, they say it's these 12 tribes, like the 12 original tribes. How could they be the 12 original tribes when Adam and Eve wasn't in them? Let's talk about that. Adam and Eve were not in the 12 original tribes, so the 12 original tribes weren't tribes. They were Israel, which is Jacob. Jacob is the son of Abraham. These are Abraham's 12 sons, and then he has a 13th daughter. So they're talking about the families of these people. So you're saying I'm connected to them. At the same time, where is Abraham from? He's from Chaldea. Ur of Chaldea. So he's from Ur. And Ur means fire. But he's from Chaldea. Chaldea is Samaria. So we're all Sumerian then. We're not Hebrews. Because Abraham's parents, because the word Hebrew didn't exist prior to Abraham. Remember that. Because Hebrew is a title for crossing over the rivers. So if you actually, because he crossed over the Tigris and the Euphrates River, it's in the book. So now, if we take away the title Hebrew, since that wasn't given yet, meaning if you take away the title Prince, that means I wasn't born yet. Because I was born and my father gave me the title and said, look, you're a prince because you're my son. So you're a prince. So we take that title away. Now I'm a nubi Ra Amosis. So who would be my parents? You got to study. Who is Abraham's mother and father? Who are their father since he's from Chaldea, which is Sumeria? So therefore we out of the whole biblical story. We're not even tracing Noah's bloodline or Adam's bloodline. We're tracing Abraham's bloodline back to Sumerians who worship, if you want to say, Dr. York talking about extraterrestrials, the Sumerians have written it in their tablets that they worship, that they call the Anunnaki. This is what they claim that they worship. Ki stands for earth. Ki is is the translation for earth. But if you're going into the lost books that they claiming, you got books they haven't even read. Because now you got to go study the Hebrew. And then you got to study ancient Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? You're going to ancient Sumerian cuneiform. That's you want pre-dynastic Hebrew before the Hebrew people took form. So now we going into what? We got the Gilead tablets that was given to Moses. For the people who say they ain't got nothing to do with Hebrew, nothing to do with the Bible. It states that they were given to Moses. We got the Elish tablets. Also given to Moses. We got the Ishtar from the underworld tablets. We got the Nagal Ashkigal tablets. We got the Adapa Etna tablets, and so on and so on. All these tablets breaking down the religion of Abraham prior to Abraham's birth that the Hebrews don't speak about, if you want to talk about it. And people say, well, why are you going so much on religion? Because when you debate these people, you don't take them out by attacking their wall. You get inside their doctrine. You go in their book and you say, let's walk with you. Let's talk about this. Let's go into it. Let's talk about these 12 tribes, that they're simply children of Israel, his 12 sons. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about who the descendants were before Adam. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 28. The cannibalism. Eat the fruit of the womb. Let's talk about Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 10.
Some water, you good?
I'm good. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the book of Numbers. Let's talk about all that stuff. And when it comes down to it, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to build with you. They don't want to have these real conversations. They don't want to build on this intellectual level and dissect the actual book itself and read and go verse for verse and study this stuff. They want to scream at you on the street with a microphone. They want to hold the book and say, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 says. Right? But when it comes actually down to it, what actually took place happening up down here. Say up down here because they don't want to talk about Shambhala Akrata, but I'm going to talk about that another time. So what actually took place up down here, they don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about all the many miracles. But let's talk about how unmerciful God is. Since you say he's so merciful, let's talk about the thousands and scorns of people that was murdered by God himself when he had the power to change their heart. So he says. Let's talk about this. And when you're talking about that, they got nothing. They got no conversation for you. They got no argument. They have no debate. We can go into the book. Sinetta done walked out on me, man. We can go into the book. I'll show you. And anybody wants to get this book, if you in New York, go to 717 Bushwick Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Ask them for 360 questions to ask a Hebrew Israelite. So now, this is the original Hebrew. The Babylonian script. Babylon is the same as Sumeria, is the same as Chaldea. Look it up. Don't believe me? Check it out. We can go into Ashuric scripts. We can go into these different scripts and explain. You say, well, give it to me without Dr. York's book. That's easy. I can give it to you without Dr. York's book. But he made it easy for me. I don't have to hold your Bible and highlight. This is my highlighter. This is everything that would have been highlighted right here in one book. So why do more work when he made it easy? You say, well, when it comes to checking the facts, I can check the facts. I can cross-reference. I say, okay, well, he said this, okay. And go to the white man's Google and ask him. And say, ask the white man, what does he think? If you say, give me a reference without Dr. York's book, we could do that easily. I need you to jump on this, man. I'm running out of fuel. Been dropping, I didn't win in it. That's why the debate with them would be so, I don't even have to stand up. I can sit at my table and read this book and say, question 1, question 2, and just walk with you. Because this one, right, this is 360 questions, right? And it's 4 of these, man.
What would be a topic for you and
Captain Tazarayach?
Didn't y'all speak on something like that before?
I said factology versus mythology. And we'll let the people of the black community decide who's spitting the facts and who's spitting the myths. If I'm pseudo, because that's another thing I want to address, but I'm not going to address it today. But I'm going to have a whole build on Sinetta TV breaking down what is pseudo. What would you consider pseudo? Because they keep saying this word. Pseudo, 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 pseudo. And it seems to me anything that you don't understand, you can't comprehend, or you just don't want or don't have the time to research, or the white man hasn't validated for you, you call pseudosciences. So Dr. York pseudo when he talked about the 9 ether. Right? That don't exist. But then when the white man said, oh, we discovered dark matter and we're going to use dark matter so we can reach rocket speeds of light speed, then you say, oh, when he talks about the ether cord, when he talks about the etheric spirits, all of that's wrong and pseudo. But then the moment it's discovered, you say, well, since the white man didn't call it, the white man said it was a soul. The white man said makraba. And that's why I'm following that. I'm going to get me some crystals and some makraba, and I'm going to get in my house and put this unk on, and we going because the white man said, instead of saying, well, let's go with the black man said, because really the black man said it first. A lot of people don't know. The Ansar symbol, I don't have it here. Give me that. Ooh, let me see the flag. All right, no, it's all good. I got it. So this Ansar symbol, right here.
I can zoom up. Go back.
Oh, okay, cool. Go right into it.
Yeah, I'm up on it. Okay.
Right here. The Ansar symbol, that didn't even exist until 1974. Look it up. It's the bottom crescent. We had it since the 1960s. So we're already innovating. And don't say, well, Dr. York's so special and powerful. No, you special and powerful. Mm-hmm. Dr. York is almighty and all great. I look at him as the most high myself. And when I say the most high, I'm not talking about as I'm on my knees. Because I was never asked to be on my knees. I'm talking about this dude has the most information that I have heard. And if you feel that you have more, your teacher has more, show me your 1,257 books. Show me your city that you built. Show me your thousands and scorns of people that's following you. And show me the origin of it and prove that it's yours. And nobody has done it yet. The Hebrew Israelites have not answered the questions of the Nubian Islamic Hebrews. That's why I'm not even coming to them as a Nuwapian. I'm coming to them as a Nubian Islamic Hebrew, as a student of the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. So I got to come at you with 20-year-old doctrine to body you. And they think they're like, oh, yo, we got something for that Nuwapian science. We'll see. There's a lot you don't know about Nuwapian science. One main point you don't know about it is the fact Nuwapian science didn't start being taught until 2012.
Does Dr. York make phone calls? How long can he speak?
I'm not sure. It's different calls are different. It depends on who he's talking to. If he's talking to legal, it's longer. If he's talking to family, they usually cut them short, 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, stuff like that.
Come on, man. What I got to do to get an interview?
You're not going to talk to Pop, bro.
That'll be powerful, bro.
You're not going to talk. He done it already. That's the thing.
Not with me, though, man.
He done it already.
Come on, man.
And all your questions, all the questions that people are asking, they're making it look like Dr. York isn't responding. He's been responding. They just you're not reposting, people not reposting the video, so the public not seeing it. We got videos all over YouTube of Dr. York recorded from prison, addressing the shit that niggas are saying.
Where that?
I could pull it up on your computer. They on YouTube. They all over it.
Snatch them joints up and throw them on my channel.
Throw them on your channel. He's addressing the people that's talking shit. But nobody want to address that. You don't see the people who comment on your video. They don't comment on those. They don't say, oh shit. When Dr. York, like the brother Polite said, you want to slander the teacher, but you won't slander the drug dealer in his face. You won't slander the teacher in his face either. When Pop was out, wasn't nobody walking up to Pop saying, the only time I ever heard somebody try to disrespect my father was on the land. And this brother came to the stage. He said, yo, I got a question for you, Dr. York. So my father's like, all right, go ahead, ask your question. He said, since you know so much, who came first, the chicken or the egg? And he thought he was being funny. And my father laughed. And my father said, the dinosaur. Study the scales on it. He went to a whole 3-4 hour build on how chickens resulted from dinosaurs. He went into the whole thing. And then he said, but if you want me to make it only chicken or egg, it would be the egg. And the reason why I be the egg is because whatever caused the dinosaur to develop into a chicken started inside the egg. So the egg had to come first. And the dude was on hush mouth.
Hold on, man. Damn. You're saying that the dinosaur.
Yeah.
And the egg came from the dinosaur.
The egg would have came from the dinosaur. So you can't say who came first, the chicken or the egg, not the chicken nor the egg. Technically, it came because the egg had to come out of the dinosaur. You say, well, the dinosaur came out the egg. But we're not talking about who came first, the dinosaur or the egg. We're talking about who came first, the chicken or the egg. So you would have to say the dinosaur. Because if you study the scales on chickens' feet, you see they have scales, like reptiles. And you take the feathers off a chicken, and you'll see what they look like. They look just like dinosaurs. They're no different. They've evolved. That's it. They in the egg, the dinosaur was in the egg. So if you want to say who came first, then if you say either the dinosaur or the egg, and the reason why I would say the egg came first because the egg had to be inside the dinosaur, and whatever caused the dinosaur to turn into a chicken was genetically mutation taking place in that egg. So who came first? The egg. Question answered. But people don't want to hear the answer. That's pseudoscience. You telling me something I don't need. No, you do need that. What that teach you? Common sense.
So you do believe in evolution?
I don't disbelieve in evolution. I never said that.
Explain to us why, not the monkey, but the gorilla or the orangutan. Which one of them have 98% of our DNA?
Well, explain to us why they have that? Yeah. Well, the main reason why is because they were used to create the Caucasian race. See, how Nuwapians are looking at evolution, we don't look at things as like they just happen like this. we say there had to be something involved. Certain things just don't make no sense. There hasn't been, the existence time period wouldn't result longer. In that case, for the amount of time humans been in existence, why haven't we evolved again? Especially with the amount of information and technology we have. Especially with pollution and all these chemicals in the air.
If they evolved the white man, how come they not evolving now?
Why the white man not evolving now?
Yeah.
Because the white man in their eyes is finished with their science. Whatever they were doing at the time period, they completed. Whoever they may be. Now, if you ask me, who are they? Then I have to go into talking about the Anunnaki and the Palladians. And don't say Dr. York said it.
What is the Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki is a race of extraterrestrials that are actually reptilians that can shapeshift in a human form. So they could be walking right among you at this very moment. And in the ancient times, they came and visited the Sumerians. And when the Anunnaki...
So you believe in that, man?
I won't say I believe anything, because the belief is ignorance. I'll say that I can acknowledge the facts of that topic. Reason being is because it's recorded through more than one person. So if only Dr. York said the Anunnaki, then I would say that would be a belief. But if I say, okay, Dr. York talked about it. Let's take Dr. York out the picture. The ancient Sumerians said, the word Anunnaki comes from the ancient Sumerians. If you go into the ancient Hopi Native Americans, the word ant and friend, ant is Anu. Friend is Kiki. So Anunnaki, same thing. And they're talking about extraterrestrials that came down to help them. If you go into the Olmecs, Al-Malik, Arabic means originators. If you go into the Olmec tribes, they talk about it too. The same race. They depict them the same way. Then in that case, I can't sit here and play blind, deaf, and dumb and say my ancestors ain't trying to tell me something if every single one is saying the same thing. Who's the fool? You the one turning it. Everybody else is on the same accord. One person can be crazy, but everybody can't. So if all the ancient cultures, every single culture, including Hebrews, are saying someone or something or some things came from up there, down here, did something, left, and said they were coming back. So how do you, as a person, saying, I ain't buying that the sky gonna break? I ain't buying that when, if my brave, God created my mind to invent a plane and to invent a car, that he would come back in chariots with horses. So now you gotta explain to me how the horses got to heaven, how they die. So we got horses, so animals ain't heaven too? And that's a whole nother bill. You gotta write an animal Bible now. Explain to me how animals are committing murder. Explain to me why animals ain't vegan. Every animal not vegan. See what I'm saying? So that doesn't make any goddamn sense. What makes more sense, and that they have proof to prove, is that extraterrestrials came here. People don't want to accept it. Because they say, well, we already got problems in the black community. We don't need to add no aliens in the situation. No one's adding aliens in the situation. That's not what no one's doing. You asked me. Remember, people asked him the question. They asked Dr. York the question. He didn't ask you a question, you asked him the question. And when you asked him, he told you. You didn't like the answer. He said, yeah, extraterrestrial involvement has taken place on this planet. It's a proven fact. I can prove it because all the ancient cultures are saying it. I can prove it because people still get abducted today. And so you say, how can I prove that? Via research. Let me research this shit, brother. Let me ask the white man. All right, cool, that's how you do it. Because people research wrong. What you do is, you look up the areas in the world where the most people have went missing without a trace. No evidence, no clues, no nothing, just went missing. Then you look up, then X that page out. You got your different areas, you write them down, X that page out. Open your new page and say, okay, now let me type up what areas of the planet where the most abductions take place. You'll see that they all match the same exact areas. It's so many people on the planet saying these accords have happened. People say, well, that's so much more to worrying about aliens too. You ain't got to worry about aliens because you don't have any genetic makeup with them. They say, well, we got the like you say about the apes, and I'm saying no. We mixed in with Caucasians and allowed that gene to come inside us.
I want you to look the camera in the eye.
Yeah.
And give Tazarayach the best reason why he should not show up to this debate with you.
The best reason why Captain Tazarayach should not show up to this debate is because the Hebrew Israelite school will end that day. As far as information. Now, anybody who continues to follow it, that's their decision. But as far as information, all those who witness this debate, and I tell everybody, please come out. Because I don't believe in stabbing something in the leg to kill it. You chop its head off and you step on it. So all those who want to come and visit and see this, come see it live. I know it's going to be in Harlem somewhere, or Brooklyn, somewhere in New York.
So what do you say when people say, POLIGHT couldn't take him down? How the fuck you think you going to just come out nowhere and take down the king who has never lost the debate, brother?
Well, that's according to him. POLIGHT, this is the problem, the difference between me and POLIGHT. I have 1,000% respect for POLIGHT and everything that he's doing, because he's not, his mind is not, we're not the same person. We're not even in the same school anymore. So we think differently. But I look at Polite in my mind, I look at him as a great teacher, excellent nuwap. I notice half of the best teachers in the House of Consciousness are all former Nuwapians. So that's why that show you the power of Dr. York. I'm in Rock Squad, all affiliated. Whether they say, well, we don't fuck with him no more, it don't matter. Everything you have to be able to say, oh, yo, I pay homage. And if they say, well, we don't pay homage, they still got his videos on their page while they slandering him. But Brother Polite and me, I look at it as a dropout versus a graduate. You dropped out and you said, I think I know everything and I think we should go this way. And I said, I'm going to keep listening. So the level of execution that Polite can do is limited in my eyes. And maybe me and him have to debate to be able to see that. But I will win. Because his teacher's still teaching me. He's not listening no more. He's not following order and protocol and direction no more. We as Nuwapians, there's certain things that we don't do that he don't have to. He has the obligation and the right as a person to say, look, I'm not with that shit. I don't want to wear that crown no matter how fly it is. I don't want to do that stuff. Or I got issues with y'all or certain people. He has that right. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make him right. So I tell people, I said, let's talk about the subject matter than other subjects that matter. Because this subject right now matters about me and Polite. But at the end of the day, this is not the subject matter. The subject matter is the Hebrew Israelite school. Polite, if the Hebrew Israelites want to say Polite couldn't take them down, I damn sure will. Reason being, the difference between me and Polite is Polite, a lot of these different other teachers, they're going to attack the surface. They're going to say God ain't real. I'm going to let you believe God is real. I'm going to come in it like I'm a believer too. And I'm going to ask you good questions.
No, but the Hebrews going to say God is real.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
When they say God is real, I'm not going to come at you and say God ain't real. Reason being is because that's going to be the argument. And the argument is going to be proving the authenticity of God, which I'm not going to do with you. Because it'll be an endless and pointless conversation. What I'm going to do with you is I'm going to say, okay, cool. Let's both say God is real. It just in this scenario, God is real. Let's talk about God's book. Let's point out these different contradictions. Let's point out these different issues. And if you want to blame it on the Nicaea Council and all these different people, you can do that. But I'm going at exactly what God said in Hebrew. I'm not coming at King James. Because he's a Caucasian. And he was a Satanist. What I got to come at him for? He did his job. Christianity worked for him. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to greet the brother in Hebrew. I'm not going to come at him and say, Rahubat Yasal. How we say, that means greetings family in Nuwapi. Nah. I'm going to come at you, I'm going to say, Shalom Alek. And then when he say it back, I'm going to keep coming. Okay? And we're going to have this debate in Hebrew. And then we're going to stand it out. And then you're going to fall off. So right now, he's on Google Translate like, shit. Let me get a conversation going. But at the end of the day, that's how we come in. Because I can't respect you. And the reason why I can't respect you, and I really want to, but the reason why I can't is because you're telling me to read a book that you can't read. You illiterate to Hebrew. So you're illiterate to the Bible. So you can't tell me what's in it when you're telling me in English. You're supposed to be the vessel to the street. You're supposed to be saving the souls. So if you're saving the souls, how can you save them with a book you can't read? How can you sell me a Bible and you can't read it? Huh? How does that work? So you still depending on the white man, King James Version, KJV, or one of the other 3,000 translations they got.
So why are you teaching the people about the book in English when you should know that's not what it's talking about?
Exactly.
Because the Hebrew is saying something totally different.
Exactly, because the English it's in, it's not even in real English. It's in Old English and it's in Greek. So when you study in Greek, it'll say, Thou Father who art in heaven. And you'll say, Thou Father who art in heaven. That means God is in heaven. No, arth doesn't mean are. And you might say, well, that's petty. Arth means lives in Greek. So God Father who lives in heaven is a different type of conversation. So now we got to come at the whole Bible different. Translate the whole prayers different. Come at the whole book of Psalms different. Dr. York rewrote and retranslated the whole book. Made a big thick book, not this big. Big red book. Called it Tehillim. El's Tehillim. But he had to retranslate. One little misconstruction, whether it be Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, whatever language, whatever Semitic language, whatever ancient language, one fault is a whole, I can discredit your whole book. Where God says that the moon gives off its own light, I'm discrediting your whole book. Because you are the omnipresent. You are God. You are is and you are here, which is there, over there, and over there. You are everywhere. You're supposed to be the all, the ba, and the ka. That's what you're supposed to be. Ba, soul, ka, spirit. That's what God is supposed to be. And then you're not providing me with that. So why am I listening to you? Well, I stated this earlier. I stated Hosea 13 verse 4.
Right.
But I said what God is saying is he says he's from Egypt. But then it hit me. I said maybe I need to read it to the brothers. The actual verse. Yeah. So if I read it it said, and this is God speaking now. Yet I am the Lord thy God from the land of Egypt, and thou shalt know no God but me. So the quote that everybody, all these Christians quote is, oh, well, God said that you shouldn't worship no God before him. But if you read that very same verse from the beginning, he's telling you he's from Egypt, a land of many gods. That's what he said. I didn't say it. Go in every translation. It all say the same thing. Take it in Hebrew. The word in Hebrew for Egypt is Mizraim. It says, from the land of Mizraim. It's there. Either way, it ain't no way you gonna cut it. I don't think the brother Tazarayach, I think the brother Tazarayach is a very strong brother. I don't think he's gonna back down from the debate. I'm very confident he's gonna be there because his ego is very large. So he's definitely gonna be there. But as far as the debate and everything, I'm letting y'all know I'm taking it. And I know everybody's gonna be mad and say, well, Prince, you I literally have to. I've realized that I have to. Not only I have to be a debater, I got to be a part of this, so I got to be a part of that. But I have to shut them up because they are disrespecting me. They are disrespecting my father. They are disrespecting our tribe. They are disrespecting all black people by still spreading lies through the mass community of this fictology. And the first step of elevating yourself is getting out of the fiction. That's the first step. Yo, I'm gonna punish him. Yeah, definitely. But I'm not gonna punish. I'm not going for Captain Tazarayach as an individual. I told you, I wanted the general. So I hope he show up because the whole debate, I'm gonna be looking at him in his eyes. I want to greet him and shake his hand and let's have a conversation in Hebrew, in Aramaic.
Yeah, but the people ain't gonna understand it.
It's okay. The people are gonna respect it. The people are gonna say, "Damn," and then I'll give the translation after. Oh, I just said for him and you. I just said because you're supposed to know this. You're teaching me a book that's in Hebrew, but then I can't sell you a book of all Nuwapic if I don't teach you how to speak it. And if I don't speak, how am I going to teach? How am I going to be a Nuwapian who doesn't speak Nuwapic? And let me expound on that real quick about the language. For young Pharaoh and all the language talks, I got the bill. I got some valuable information from the Supreme Grand Hierophant, Dr. Malachi Z. York, His Excellency. I got some information on the Nuwapic language. Dr. Malachi Z. York says the Nuwapic language comes from 4 different languages that you can acknowledge, meaning that you can find. As far as its actual origin, it's very difficult to track because it's so ancient. He said in his journey, in his travels of putting it together, the Nuwapuyi is found on the emerald tablets. Where does it come from? It comes from a language called Ge'ez. These are languages you can look up. Ge'ez, Ethiopian script, Sabian script, and Sub-Saharan script. These are all 4 languages that's called the oldest language in Africa. All 4 of them are called the oldest. Look at the scripts and you'll see they all have the same symbols, just twisted around differently. But they're all the same symbols. It's obvious to tell. And when you look at it, you say, okay, these are all dialects that came from the Nuwapuyi, which is found on the emerald tablets dated 75,000 plus years back. So that is the origin of Nuwapic for the people who wanted to know that. I'm glad I got a chance to put that out there. Let me address this. I texted Sinette about this earlier because we're closing out, but you got to get this in there. For the people, again, addressing, why would I take information from you? You teaching a child molester's doctrine. Well, let's address that. One time, Dr. Malachi Z. York was never put in jail for child molestation. He was accused of it. They put his video on TV of him pleading guilty. They played all these different games, but that was a plea bargain, and he was trying to get out of jail. You trying to get out of jail, you taking the plea bargain. You say, well, I got too much. Well, that's you. That nigga trying to get out. He got things to do. We had nation to build. You follow what I'm saying? But if we go into it, Dr. Malachi Z. York's official charges. This is from his lawyers. Mm-hmm. Count number 1, conspiracy to commit racketeering.
Can they look this up?
They can look this up. Right. They don't want to look it up, but they can look it up. Yeah. Count number 1, conspiracy to commit racketeering. They gave him the maximum. There's people in Wall Street that's getting 6 months, 4 months, and probation for this. They gave Dr. York 20 years. Count number 2, racketeering. Racketeering acts. So the first one was conspiracy. The next one was, they say they proven acts of him doing it. 20 years. Count number 3, transporting minors, conspiracy of transporting minors across state lines. They gave him 5 years. Count number 4, 5, and 6, transporting minors with the intent. So who's judging the intentions? That's the white man saying, I think that you about to do this. With the intent of sexual engagement, they gave him 15 years each count. So 4, 5, and 6, they gave him 15 years max on that. Count number 7 and 8. Travel, again, with the intent to engage in sexual content. How can you speak on the intent? And who testified on this intent? Nobody. Everybody's testifying and saying they recanting their statement, saying nothing happened to me. You're testifying, or nobody's testifying and saying that I saw him attempting that. This never happened. Go into the study of it. Count number 9, 10 and 11. Structuring cash transaction and evading currency transactions. They gave him 15 years per. So what they did is they gave most of the charges are dealing with money, because that's what the feds are going to do. There's no such charge. There's no such charge as federal child molestation. That does not exist. It never will. That's a state charge. They can't charge you that in federal. So why is he in federal prison then? If he's a molester, he'd be in state prison. He's in federal prison. So that didn't even exist. All of the stuff they're talking about doesn't even exist. It's not tangible. It's not on documentation. They still have documents sealed that they have not let open to the public. What they did let open is they illegally recorded. They're supposed to record it for the court, but they illegally posted to embarrass and to slander and take the credibility from Dr. Malachi York, because he's putting out books that's answering questions. He's putting out information. No, he's letting the people know what's real and what's real, what's tangible, our real culture, our real way of dress, our real way of life. That's what he's doing with us. He's elevating the minds and taking us to a level of spirituality in which we can tap into something higher than oneself and go into the omnipresent. That's what he's teaching. The brother who's teaching that and ending the debates and ending the problems in the community, that person is a problem. And building the nation, actually physically did it, is a problem. And is a multi-millionaire with international business, a diplomat of another country. That dude is a problem.
The young rappers listening to him.
Young rappers listening to him.
He had the ear of the youth.
He had the entire ear of the youth. Actually, and it's something I have not spilled out yet, but I'm gonna put it out today. A lot of people don't know. I'm sure you probably heard of the ancient Egyptian order. A lot of people don't know. The ancient Egyptian order was created by Dr. Malachi York, and when it was originally created, it was created to be a fraternity to be in universities. So instead of you pledging Greek, you would be pledging Egyptian in college. So we can get the people with the college mindsets already coming into the community by saying, when you came into college, instead of you pledging and saying, I'm pledging beta or omega or alpha, these different Greek terms, you would pledge ancient Egyptian order. You're pledging your genealogy. That's what you're pledging to. And that's what the AEO was for. It was a fraternity that he expanded our nation into the universities to get the intelligent black people as well as the less fortunate, so we can all come together and unify. This was what we did. As well as we even built a museum on our land where he was buying the Egyptian artifacts. He was buying Pharaoh. He was trying to buy Pharaoh Ramesses when he was going to jail. He's trying to buy his physical body. So the white man would have to pay us to see our ancestors instead of us paying them. You can't argue with the works of Dr. Malachi York.
Okay, and so with that, peace, black power, free Dr. York, we out.